in Chicago and Massachusetts. The White House Board of Czar signals plans for a wider federal crackdown in sanctuary cities across the United States this week. Tyrone Bowman lied that in an article written by Connor Green for Time magazine, and Green is an editorial fellow at Time, reporting on breaking news and politics out of the D.C. Bureau. So let's give him credit for the article that I'm about to read right now. The Trump administration has launched immigration enforcement operations in Massachusetts and Chicago as the White House Board of Czar signals plans for a wider federal crackdown on sanctuary cities across the country this week. Quote, you can expect action in most sanctuary cities across the country, Board of Czar Tom Homan said in an interview on CNN over the weekend. It's ironic that there are no ICE raids taking place in any of the Republican-led cities at all. Notice that. All these cities are Democratic cities. None of them are Republican cities. So they're very biased and selective in how they're doing this. The ramped-up enforcement efforts mark the latest escalation in President Donald Trump's ongoing battle with sanctuary cities, where laws restrict local law enforcement operations with federal immigration authorities as he seeks to carry out an aggressive mass deportation agenda. You all should have listened when Kamala Harris warned you, but your hatred and your bitterness for a black woman caused you not to vote for her. Trump's previous salvos against sanctuary cities across two administrations have faced setbacks as courts have blocked the president from withholding federal funding from the cities and upheld the legality of their policies. The new crackdown, meanwhile, was already meeting with resistance from local leaders. So here's what you and I need to know. Let's talk about what's happening in Chicago. The Department of Homeland Security, or DHS, announced today that it was launching an immigration enforcement effort in Chicago targeting undocumented immigrants with criminal records, which it is calling Operation Midway Blitz. This ICE operation will target the criminal illegal aliens who flocked to Chicago and Illinois because the new Governor Pritzker and his sanctuary policies would protect them and allow them to roam free on American streets. The agency said in a statement, this operation will target the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens in Chicago. ICE Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said in support of the operation. There had not been reports of mass arrests as of Monday morning, according to local authorities. Trump has previously indicated plans to crack down on crime and immigration in Chicago, and over the weekend appeared to threaten the city with newly renamed Department of War. I love the smell of deportations in the morning. That's what President Trump said. He said it on Truth Social. Chicago is about to find out why it's called the Department of War. Trump has since walked back his comments amid a backlash. Too late for that. We're going to war. This is what he calls it. Quote, he says, we're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities. The president said when asked about the polls on Monday. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend. That's not war. That's common sense. Chicago officials and residents have prepared to push back against a federal crackdown in recent days. The city's mayor, Brandon Johnson, last weekend signed an order directing Chicago law enforcement and officials not to cooperate with federal agency and establish an initiative intended to protect residents' rights against the operation that was announced on Monday. The city of Aveston, an urban suburb or black suburb of Chicago, let's call it what it is. We're going to take out the word urban and call it by name. It is a black suburban area of Chicago, issued a statement, warned its residents of impending raids by ICE agents and urged them to report sightings of law enforcement. Meanwhile, in the Massachusetts area, the Department of Homeland Security over the weekend announced its plans for an operation called Patriot 2.0 in Massachusetts, intended to increase the number of deportations in the state. You all have to pay attention to the language and the wording. Patriots 2.0? What patriots? That means you're going to war. So, who are the patriots supposed to be warring against? Under President Trump and Secretary Noam, nowhere is a safe haven for criminal illegal aliens. If you come to our country illegally and break our laws, we will hunt you down, arrest you, blah, 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 and deport you, and you will never return, said a DHS spokesperson in a statement over the weekend. Well, what about those in power who are breaking the law? And what about those in power who have quote unquote illegal aliens working in their homes without proper authorization and proper papers? Does that imply to them too? DHS went on to criticize Boston Mayor Michelle Wu, stating that sanctuary policies like those pushed by Mayor Wu not only attract and harbor criminals, but also place these public safety threats above the interests of law-abiding American cities. Ladies and gentlemen, when 2026 midterm elections occur, I'm telling you, they're going to be coming out by the millions. It's going to be a brand new day in America. Few details were released about the scale of the new operation. It's called shock and awe. That's what I'm going to call it. The department says it follows the success of Operation Patriot in May, a previous enforcement campaign that led to roughly 1,500 arrests, according to the acting director of ICE. Wu, in response, has stood by her city's policies and vowed to challenge any enforcement efforts that cross legal lines. As ordered in the Boston Trust Act, no Boston police or local resources will be co-opted into federal immigration enforcement and their mass deportation agenda, she said in a statement. For months, ICE has refused to provide any information about their activities in Boston and refuses to issue warrants while we hear reports of ICE agents taking parents as they are dropping their kids off at school. That does not make our community safer. We expect that federal law enforcement will abide by the Constitution and laws of this county, Commonwealth, and country. And we are prepared to take legal action in any evidence to the contrary. The Boston Trust Act, which was first adopted in 2014 and amended 5 years later, restricts local law enforcement from cooperating or collaborating with ICE on civil immigration enforcement while allowing cooperation on matters of significant public safety, such as human trafficking, child exploitation, drug and weapons trafficking, and cyber crimes. Earlier this month, the Justice Department sued Boston over the policy, arguing that cities cannot obstruct the federal government from enforcing immigration laws. The city of Boston and its mayor may have been among the worst sanctuary offenders in America. They explicitly enforce policies designed to undermine law enforcement and protect illegal aliens from justice. If Boston won't protect its citizens from illegal crime, the Department of Justice will, said Attorney General Pam, in a statement. Wu vowed when the lawsuit was filed, that the city would defend its laws. We will not yield, the mayor said. Never surrender. Never quit. Wait a minute, we go back. Somebody said, wait a minute. Get criminals off the streets and get the criminals out of Washington as well. Let me add that, Chance. Well, they have no choice but to. Listen, the economy is affected greatly. People can believe the lies that are being spewed out if they want. The economy is suffering, it's going to continue to suffer. People are being fired. They're not being laid off. They can forget that term, being laid off. They're being fired indiscriminately across the board, getting rid of them. These greedy CEOs are happy because the majority of the CEOs are Republican anyway, and they're happy. They're happy about everything that's going on in this country. Don't believe the PR campaigns. Don't believe the proper lies that they try to tell. They are firing people, and they're happy about it, and they're celebrating behind the scenes. And they shut down the plant permanently in Chicago. All right, never surrender, never quit.